Welcome to the hearing, and we'll begin with bills related to law enforcement, improving inmate education, and juvenile justice. Intro 1119D requires the Inspector General, in collaboration with the NYPD and other agencies, to review information on lawsuits, complaints, claims, and investigations related to alleged police misconduct, and to develop recommendations for training, monitoring, and disciplining of police officers. Intro 1013A requires the DOC to offer a discharge plan addressing employment needs to all inmates sentenced to 30 days or more in DOC facilities. There are limited exceptions for inmates discharged to a hospital or other governmental entity. Intro 1148A requires the DOC and the DOE to report yearly on educational program for incarcerated adolescents and young adults. Intro 1348A requires the DOC to provide vocational or educational training to inmates incarcerated for more than 10 days with limited exceptions. Intro 1237A requires ACS to review how it maintains the health records of youth in the juvenile justice system and to report on planned enhancements to record keeping. Intro 1451A clarifies the type of visitors residents can receive in secure detention facilities. These facilities house youth accused of serious offenses awaiting resolution of their cases in family or criminal court. Intro 1452A permits youth in detention facilities to hold video conferences with family and guardians. This will help them to stay in touch with their support systems and make plans for a productive discharge. It's now my pleasure to introduce, he's got a lot here, the sponsor of Intro 1237. Hold on, we got a number thing here. Help me out.
1451, 1452.
Okay. They left out an important number there. 1237, 1451, and 1452, and the chair of the Juvenile Justice Committee, Councilmember Fernando Cabrera.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for being a champion for juvenile justice issues. Also want to thank the Speaker, my colleagues in the Juvenile Justice Committee, Beth Gallup, Counsel to the Committee of Juvenile Justice, John Kinsley, Counsel Deepa Ambekar, Senior Legislative Counsel William Konkach, Senior Legislative Policy Analyst, and other staff who did excellent work on this legislation. Intros 1237A, 1451A, and 1452A are a package of bills that emphasize the rehabilitation rather than the punishment of detained youth by ensuring that they receive appropriate health care, stay connected to their communities, and supportive adults in their lives. 1237A requires ACS to review the effectiveness of its current system of maintaining health records for youth detained in ACS facilities. 1451A requires ACS to allow youth in detention facilities to designate visitors outside of family members, such as clergy, a coach, a teacher, or other adults with whom they have a positive relationship. And Intro 1452A will require ACS to allow young people in secure detention facilities to video conference with family members for certain types of discussion, eliminating the hardship many families experience in having to use public transit to reach the facilities for visits. These bills recognize and address the importance of properly meeting the health care needs of detained youth, helping them to remain connected to community, family, and other positive adult role models. This package of legislation strengthens rehabilitation and the chances for successful outcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. And now my pleasure to introduce the sponsor of Intro 1348A, Councilmember Robert Cornegie, Jr.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. In addition to the reform that we see being put forward as we look at the change in Rikers Island and moving away from that type of model, in the interim, we'd like to see more educational programs. In the instance of the late Khalif Browder, it is argued that had there been programs in place for him, there would have been a better discharge plan, and he would have been able to assimilate back into the community a little bit better. Many people don't know that there are two forms of individuals on Rikers Island. One is detainees, and the other are sentenced individuals. Prior to this legislation, there was programming available only to sentenced individuals. This legislation seeks to any inmate on Rikers Island for more than 10 to 30 days is eligible for services. So hopefully this will reduce the rate of recidivism by providing programming to individuals as opposed to just detaining them. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thank the Speaker. I thank all of the advocates who fought for this legislation and look forward to making sure that individuals on Rikers have the necessary programming to be able to assimilate back into the communities.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Council Member. I'd like to also thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito. I'd like to thank Councilmember Corey Johnson, who's the sponsor of Intro 1013A. Councilmember Jamani Williams, the sponsor of 119A, it says here. Yes, 119D. I'm sorry, 119D. My apology. Councilmember Danny Drum, the sponsor of Intro 1148A. Councilmember Elizabeth Crowley, the chair of the Committee on Fire and Criminal Justice Services. All the members of council who worked so hard on this legislation, we thank you. In addition, a big thank you to our ACS Commissioner, David Hansel, who is doing outstanding work, improving the agency in so many ways and working closely with the council on a series of reforms. And I would also like to thank the council members present for having supported efforts to provide additional resources to ACS for training and preventative services and so many of the other things that are important to the progress of that agency. But really want to thank you, Commissioner, for your work on these crucial juvenile justice issues as well. In addition, thanks to NYPD Commissioner Jimmy O'Neill, DOI Commissioner Mark Peters, Acting DOC Commissioner Cynthia Brand, and the Director of the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, Elizabeth Glazer. We do not have any audience testimony. Commissioner, I want to see if there's anything you wanted to add.
No, I would just say, first of all, thank you, Mayor de Blasio, for your support of the juvenile justice-related bills. And I specifically want to thank Chair Cabrera for his sponsorship of the legislation, for his leadership on juvenile justice issues in the council, and for his ongoing support and collaboration with ACS as we move forward with reform of our juvenile justice system. I appreciate it very much.
And I do as well. Thank you, Council Member, and to you as well, Council Member. And now we are ready to sign these bills. And let me... working here to get one of there we go. Okay, Councilmember Cornegie, you are going first.
That never happens. So.
Yeah, no,
I don't even know how to act.
it's a good opportunity in life. You deserve. How many would you like? How many pens? 2? Okay. There's the first one. Congratulations to you. Well done.
Got it right for this time.
You see, you're learning the technique. Well done. And for you as well. Well done. And now, Councilmember Cabrera, you have 3. Okay. How many would you like for each one?
2 each.
2 each. Okay, we can do this. Well done. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm going to throw in one extra to thank the Commissioner.
Oh, yes. Thank you
His
very
good
much.
work. Well done.
Thank you.
One. Okay. Whoops. And now. Somehow I think it's still August, but it's September. Here's the other one. Well done.
Thank you.
And this, and one more. Well done. Thank you. Every time you deserve your praise.
Muchas gracias.
Those are yours. And now we've got the other pieces. Put those aside. Move these up. Okay, this is Councilmember Williams. And how many do you guys want for these?
We can get 7.
7 among them?
7 total, yes.
7 total. 223, how's that? Okay. That is for Councilmember Williams. This is Councilmember Johnson's.
So we have 2 folks to your right here who can get pennies from these bills.
Say again?
Included in your total.
Included in my total?
That's right.
Really?
Previously included.
Right here? A pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So Councilmember Johnson does not need one. Or do you want another one for him? You want one for him? All right, that's for him. It's Councilmember Williams, Councilmember Johnson. Okay. And to you. Thank you. Okay, and finally, this one, 3.
One to your left over there.
You love throwing those curveballs.
Otherwise, I'm bored. Thank you very much.
Thank you. How could you be bored in such a scintillating process? This pen is not doing all I want it to, but I got something done with it. All right. Oh, good crust. Okay, these are for Councilmember Drum, and all of these bills are now law. Congratulations, everyone. Okay. We'll now consider bills to promote equity in city government. Intro 1500B requires DOH, MH, ACS, and Department of Social Services to complete assessments of their services and practices to evaluate gender, race, income, and sexual orientation equity. Then to develop action plans and submit a report every 2 years. This bill also establishes an equity committee to work with relevant agencies on these assessments and review the reports. Intro 1512A mandates all DOH, MH, ACS, and Department of Social Services employees to receive training on implicit bias, discrimination, cultural competency, and structural inequality. Intro 1520B requires my office to include information on gender, racial, sexual orientation, and income in our annual report on social indicators and equity. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, the sponsor of Intro 1500B. DOHMH Commissioner Dr. Mary Bassett, ACS Commissioner David Hansel, HRA Commissioner Stephen Banks, Commission on Gender Equity, our new Executive Director, Jacqueline Ebanks, welcome. Mayor's Office of Operations Acting Director, Emily Newman. Mayor's Office for Economic Opportunity, Executive Director, Matt Klein. Council Member Lori Cumbo, the Chair On the Committee on Women's Issues, Councilmember Danny Drum, the sponsor of Intro 1512A, and Councilmember Brad Lander, the sponsor of Intro 1520B. Okay. So none of the council members are here to speak. Jacqueline, did you want to say anything before I sign these bills?
Not at this time.
All right, I accept. So we will now sign these bills. Okay. A very elegant response. Yes. Excellent.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Deputy Commissioner from the Health Department, Lisa Maybank, over the Center for Health.
Thank you, Rika. Hi. Good to see you. All right. Okay. So we have the speaker's bills and 3 more. How many for each? How many for each?
If we can get 7.
7 among them.
7 on the first and then 1 each on each subsequent. So
Oh, wait, I'm
8,
sorry.
9, 10.
Is this 2 separate? Forgive me here. You got a clip on this. John Paul, you've got, someone left a clip, thus confusing me. I thought there was only 4. There's 5, or there's, what we got here? 3 for this. Okay, so that was the other one. Okay, we've got 3 total, and you would like 7. 2, 2, 3. Here we go. I'll give you one. Thank you for your good work. Excellent. And do you want one for the speaker, or should I give it back here? She's probably got lots of pens, right? She has lots of pens. Bless you. Thanks for being here. Okay. Councilmember Drum. For him. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. And, okay. This is Councilmember Lander's bill. You? Pleasure. Okay. These bills are now law. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you. Okay, now we will consider a package of bills to reduce food waste. Intro 1439A requires city agencies to inform food rescue groups, such as food pantries, before disposing of food eligible for donation that has been confiscated during enforcement actions. Intro 1514A will create a website to facilitate food donations from donors and to recipients throughout the city. I want to offer my special appreciation to the sponsor of Intro 1514A, Councilmember Rafael Espinal. This is an issue I have long been concerned about, and nothing bothers me more than food waste in the society so blessed with so many resources. So I really want to thank you for stepping up to do something about it, and I know a lot of people will benefit. So my pleasure to introduce, to speak, Councilmember Rafael Espinal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was actually going to say how I know this is important to you, especially with the efforts you're doing to expand composting across the city. We're still waiting for CB5 in East New York to be part of that program.
We're coming, brother.
I have a bunch of compost in my fridge. I don't know what to do with this. I'm hoping
We'll send someone right over.
New York City must get creative when thinking of ways to address our challenging social problems. One problem that we have the tools to address is the problem of hunger. 1.4 million New Yorkers, mainly women and children, rely on food pantries and soup kitchens to get their meals. That's 16.4% of our population, which is considered to be food insecure and unsure where the next meal will come from. Yet New York City produces about 1.5 million tons of food waste per year. The solution to food insecurity is not growing or buying more food. We already have the resources to feed those who are hungry. It is now a question of using our city resources to mobilize those goods by connecting people who can help. Intro 1514A will create a web portal where potential food donors, such as restaurants and supermarkets, who typically throw out tons of uneaten food, can connect with nonprofits and food recipients to deliver that food to people who need it. Donors can upload information about their resources, and within seconds, the nonprofits can send a message and coordinate the pickup. This technological approach can bridge the gap of communication between food suppliers and nonprofits who are already doing the work of feeding the hungry. And the benefits are endless. This will help businesses who can get a tax break potentially and may even find donating their food easier and cheaper than paying a disposal company. This will help our environment, as food waste that rots in our landfills emits methane, which is a more powerful greenhouse gas than CO2. And at a time when the Trump administration is not doing anything to prevent climate change, every action at the local level will go a long way. And most importantly, this will help New Yorkers in need. This is a bill that is a big win for our city, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for signing this bill, and to all those who have helped make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I also want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, NYPD Commissioner Jimmy O'Neill, Health Commissioner Dr. Mary Bassett, Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia, our Director of Food Policy for the Mayor's Office, Barbara Turk, and a special thank you to the sponsor of Intro 1439A and the Chair of the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management, Council Member Antonio Reynoso. And now we will sign these bills. How many do you want?
I'm low maintenance. I just need one.
Just one? You don't want to? Your staff?
All right,
like
yeah,
one?
we'll take three.
Three? Come on. All that work? Four.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well done.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Very good thing. Very important.
Thank
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
To you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this the last one you need, or you need? I will give it to you.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that all you need?
4 more after
No, for this bill.
this. This one, you're
We're good with this one. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Councilman Reynoso's bill. 4 more?
Yes, please.
Okay, these bills are now law. Congratulations. All right, last but not least, one more. We'll now consider a bill that's gotten a lot of favorable attention, a bill that a lot of experts on this topic, let me tell you. A bill that fosters better communication and cooperation between New Yorkers, City Hall, and the nightlife industry. Intro 1688 establishes a permanent nightlife advisory board as well as an office of nightlife, which will both be housed in the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. This will create a liaison between government, nighttime establishments, and community groups. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, our Commissioner for the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, Julie Menon, our Consumer Affairs Commissioner, Lorelei Salas, our Cultural Affairs Commissioner, Tom Finkelpearl, and, of course, the sponsor of Intro 1688 and Chair of the Committee on Consumer Affairs, Councilmember Rafael Espinal, Jr. And I will note at this point that this bill will be signed at a later date, and many excited people will be there.
Yeah. For the record, I'm not running for night mayor.
That's right. Okay, you're like the only person in New York City who's not. I'm glad there's one who's not. Just a few words in Spanish before we conclude the hearing. Hoy he firmado y tuvimos audiencias para un total de 13 leyes. Con ellas aseguramos más responsabilidad al investigar alegatos de abuso policial. Garantizamos educación para presos en nuestras cárceles. Autorizamos conferencias de video para jóvenes reclusos con sus familias. Los empleados de los departamentos de salud, servicios sociales y servicios para niños recibirán clases contra la discriminación. Al confiscar comida, la ciudad debe informar a los grupos de rescate de comida y vamos a establecer una oficina para asuntos de la vida nocturna. Sounds even better in Spanish. And with that, I want to thank everyone, and this hearing is now adjourned.